Travel Talk, where our expert magical memory planners discuss ways you can have fun, memorable, and stress-free family vacations. Well, welcome to this episode of Travel Talk. I am so excited today because I have one of our fellow agents from Magical Memory Planners here with me, and she is on this podcast to share with us some of her experiences. So Carla's been with the agency for quite a while, almost since the beginning. Are you coming up on 10 years?
I think I am. Actually, I was at the end of your first year. I think I came on.
I think just about to hit the 10-year mark. And so she had the amazing opportunity to spend some time in Mexico at an all-inclusive resort with her husband this past fall. And so I'm so excited to talk about what it's like going to an all-inclusive, especially right now, and hear a little bit more from Carla. So Carla was at Margaritaville in Riviera Cancun. And so tell us a little bit about your experience at the Margaritaville.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. It was so great to actually get away and feel the sun and the beach and the sand, and the ocean. It was just such a wonderful experience. It was great because, as you know, like with us, like we really need to get away and that travel bug gets a hold of us. So it was really nice after such a long hiatus from traveling to finally get to go and be at Margaritaville, because us, just like everybody else, we were supposed to go in 2020 for our anniversary and we weren't able to go. So we had to move it to the fall of 2021. So we finally got to go.
Yeah, I am solar powered, and I think you might be as well. So getting a trip to the sunshine is very rejuvenating.
It truly is. It truly is. And you know what? Margaritaville was so much fun. So it was really neat to actually get to go to one of their all-inclusives, because I don't know about you, but I am a huge parrot head. I am a Jimmy Buffett parrot head. That's actually how I got my husband to go to an all-inclusive. I was like, well, hey, it's a Margaritaville resort. So that really helped us when we were deciding where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
So especially for those who really like that Margaritaville feel and that Jimmy Buffett flair, they say every time is all day long is island time. So yes, it is worth it. And actually the first thing they do when you walk in, they actually give you a pair of flip-flops. So I still have my Margaritaville flip-flops. I wear them all over my house and I will wear them all winter long.
Oh, that's awesome. I always get greeted with a cocktail.
Yes.
So I've never been greeted with flip-flops.
They greet with flip-flops. So they do have drinks. Actually, what they do is instead they give you the flip-flops and they give you an ice cream pop.
Oh
it's like a pina colada frozen ice cream pop, and it was delicious.
Oh, that is so fun.
It was. So, but it's really cool. So they actually have they have 4 main pools. They have 6 bars, of course, including the, somewhere bar. And then they have 4 main restaurants, and it's not a really big resort. It's actually it's only 148 suites.
Oh, nice.
So it's a nice size. You feel like you're really, you feel like you're on vacation, but you don't feel like you don't know where you're going.
Okay.
You're not going to feel like you're going to get lost there. But yet you didn't feel like you were on top of each other, which was really nice.
That's a nice mix.
It is. And just to kind of talk a little bit more, even though, like I said, it feels like it's got a little bit of a smaller field, there is 3 main restaurants. There's a wonderful Italian restaurant called Frank and Lola's. Oh my goodness. Their caprese salad was fantastic. I think you're in Mexico. It's like Italian food. They did a wonderful job. It was excellent. And then they had Latino, which was a great Spanish flair, of course. It was delicious. And then they had what was called the beach house. It was so cool, Allison. So when you walk up in the morning, that was like our place to go for breakfast. You were actually sitting right on the beach. There was no real windows in it. So you feel that breeze, you feel the sunshine. And literally every day we sat right at the main window. We had our eggs Benedict and our mimosa, and that beautiful sun was just shining right on us.
That sounds like vacation.
Paradise. Truly was. It truly, truly was. There were 4 great pools, including the main pool, which had a slide and some things. Then they had like a more adult only pool. They had more of a little kid pool. And then they had the best pool, if you ask me, which was where our swim up suite was. And of course they had a swim up bar. So we were able to come right out of our room, right into the pool and swam right up to the bar. Doesn't get much better than that.
All right, it's problematic because I mentioned before to Carla before we started talking that my passport is currently being renewed. So I'm currently grounded and can't go anywhere. So by the end of this conversation, I think I'm going to be following up at the passport office and finding out when it's coming back.
I think so. I definitely think so.
It
Really was. It was neat that you were able to do that and still feel safe and healthy and all those wonderful things. But this was our 20th wedding anniversary trip. So we really wanted to go and have a nice, relaxing adventure together. And I really felt like this it checked all those boxes.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to sit out. We could still kind of see the ocean from where we were, even though we were not in an ocean view room. Our swim up was really beautiful. And it had 2 great Margaritaville lounge chairs, which you could sit on. I read my book most days. So it was really cool, but I got to tell you the really fun part about the swim pool. So they have, and I'll kind of get in a little more into it a little bit, but they have the coolest restaurant. It was called Rita's Tacos, and it was open every day for lunch. And then they were open for dinner, but you could order a floating taco bar, right? So of course, just like me as the travel agent and my husband's fairly friendly, we of course always make friends because you can't order this taco bar all by yourself. And so it comes out and it's easily 3 to 4 feet wide and it's round and it comes out and they set it in the pool. So you were literally in the pool drinking margaritas and eating tacos and chips and guacamole. My husband was in heaven. We met this wonderful honeymooning couple. They were having a beautiful time and we were all sharing and just this gluttonous heaven of tacos.
I have never heard of a floating taco bar. That sounds amazing.
It was truly the coolest thing I think I've ever done. I think my son was so envious when we got home and said we had a floating taco bar. It really makes me want tacos. Maybe I'll have tacos for dinner. Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
So it was pretty neat.
Cool. So, there's a lot of choices for vacations and I know we love Disney, we love Universal. I know you're an avid cruiser. So what kind of sparked the idea and made you think maybe this time we would do an all-inclusive?
Well, and like you said, I am truly an avid cruiser. I think we're like in number 15 or 16 in our cruise portfolio. So we are truly avid cruisers. So when the opportunity came up for us to possibly do an all-inclusive, I have to admit, I wasn't so sure. I was a little nervous because I like to be able to go. I like to be able to do things. I don't want to get bored. And although I am an avid reader and I do love my books and I love to sit and relax a little bit, I was kind of nervous going into an all-inclusive situation. I thought there can't possibly be enough to keep me going.
And that was before you found out about the floating taco bar.
It truly was before I found out about the floating taco bar. But you know what? I was truly amazed. So, and I'm going to be in full honesty here. I was so worried that we weren't going to have things to do. I actually packed a bag of games. Like I packed a deck of cards, Uno. We're big board game people. I managed to fit an entire board game in my suitcase. And I'll have you know, we never opened the bag once.
That's
so
good.
It really did. So really, we started our day. We got up, we had a beautiful breakfast. We would walk around the resort. It was really neat because we got to meet so many people in the resort because it was sort of intimate that we got to know them. Like if we met a couple at the bar the night before and we saw them the next day, we would end up chatting with them and talking. Of course, there was the amazing spa, which we can talk about. So we would go to the spa, we would go back, we would have a great lunch at the taco place. And of course, after you have tacos and margaritas, you have to take a nap.
Yeah.
So, we would have a little afternoon siesta. And then before we knew it, we were, in the pool again, we were showering, getting ready for a beautiful dinner. And then after dinner, they always had entertainment up at the somewhere bar, and we were having drinks with the whole area and listening to these amazing bands that they were bringing in. Before we knew it, it was 10, 11 o'clock at night. So we really felt not only relaxed, and I had plenty of time to read and feel like I actually took a deep breath for the first time on vacation. So I think I think this will be our first of very many all-inclusives.
You have been converted.
I have been. I was really surprised because I was nervous. And if those of you who are avid cruisers, I would say it was really a neat experience.
Yeah, perfect. So there's a lot of different, all-inclusives, especially in the Mexico, Riviera, Cancun, Riviera Maya area. There are a lot of all-inclusive resorts. So what made Margaritaville a little bit different? What was some of the things that stood out about that resort?
Well, definitely the fact that it is a Jimmy Buffett theme place. And if you are not a Jimmy Buffett fan person, it's okay. You're not going to feel left out. But if you are a Buffett fan, you are going to feel at home. They had surfboards with Jimmy Buffett sayings and all of the different songs places. You really had a nice flair of island. You felt it was always fun. And everybody who saw said, it's island time. So it really made you take that deep breath and realize it's okay to relax, which was nice. But something different for those who are really involved with all-inclusives, that typically they have refrigerators in your room and they fully stock those refrigerators with soft drinks and iced teas and snacks of all sorts. But what was different at Margaritaville is when you check in, they actually give you what they call a points allotment. And they actually have a convenience store right in Margaritaville. So it's called Joe Merchant's, and you can walk into Joe Merchant's whenever you want and kind of stock your own fridge in your room, which was so cool. So they had all different kinds of liquors. So of course, the liquors were free at the bars, and I forgot to tell you earlier, we were talking about it. They actually have a Margaritaville mixer in your room. So you can buy all the fixings and make your own margaritas there. Although I got to tell you, I'd rather walk up to the bar and get my own margarita or swim up. But they have an assortment of chips, iced teas, soft drinks. And then actually in the evening, and it doesn't cost you any points, actually all day long, but they have coffee and they had like a little pastry bar. So it was great to just be able to walk up and grab desserts at any time of day if we were a little hungry and we wanted something, just a little snack to keep us going. It was a great place to go in and check in. And then at the end of your trip, if you have a couple points left over, it's always a great way to take home some souvenirs. Like we, of course, grabbed some chocolates for my son. They had some Mexican things there. They had all sorts of course, they had a wide range of US brands, but also some brands that you might not be familiar with. So it'd be neat to try.
Yeah, that's nice because, Margaritaville is open to families as well as adults. And so when everything's already put in your room, there might be things that you didn't want your kids to have or the quantity that you want your child to have unlimited access to. So this also gave you the opportunity to kind of pick and choose what you had in your room and not have in your room. So that way you had a little more control over
Absolutely.
what they had unlimited access to.
And it went by your room type. So basic rooms, and we had a swim up room, which was just a little above basic or like the standard room. There was more than enough points to get everything you wanted and then some.
Yeah.
So, and obviously if you had higher up rooms and higher up suites, you could obviously get whatever you wanted.
More, yeah.
So, and two, so it was just really cool. It was neat to be able to have that ability.
Cool. That is definitely something a little different, unique about the brand. So everybody's got an app, Carla. You can't go on vacation without your app. So the loaded question, does Margaritaville have an app?
Of course they do. Of course they do. And it was great because I actually found it very comforting because I'm one who actually likes to lock my phone up when I go on vacation, but it was super nice to be able to have that because it told you all the times for all the restaurants that were open those nights. Okay. You could make reservations for the restaurants. Although when we went, we didn't necessarily need to, you certainly could. As well as you can order room service any time of day. And the food was delivered right to your room, right to your patio. And we didn't even have to leave for that, which was wonderful. One of the nights we didn't even go out to dinner. We just ordered dinner in and we sat on our beautiful patio and read our books right at the swim up suite. And it was a really wide variety menu that was available right at your fingertips.
Nice. Great. So, one of my favorite places to be on vacation is the spa. So tell us a little bit about the spa at Margaritaville.
You know what? I was a little nervous because when I walked in, it kind of looked a little small. When you get in there, it is actually Beautiful. So they actually have a great salon area that does hair and nails and makeup and all of those sorts of things, just like regular spas. And then of course they have the men's room, they have the ladies changing rooms and all of that, but their relaxation room was gorgeous. And it gave enough room for everybody to go in. Because sometimes when you go to those resorts, the relaxation rooms are male or female only. This was nice because we were able to meet up together. The robes were very lush. They actually had 2 separate pool areas. So they had like a polar plunge, which was, I'm sorry, way too cold for me. And I'm not getting in that. And then they had a nice, beautiful hot tub area. They had some lounge chairs. Of course, they had some refreshments in there as well. And then, of course, we both had massages, which were just fabulous.
Wonderful. So the other thing I want to touch on is what everybody really wants to know right now, because things can be a little, people are concerned sometimes when they're traveling, and some of the first questions we get is what are their COVID protocols? What is their cleanliness? And then, the testing requirements that seem to change on the frequent, what are my options for being tested to return, or whatever the requirements might be at the time of travel, which might be different than at the time that I booked.
Right.
So, could you just talk a little bit about the COVID testing and the safety that they have on resort?
Well, first of all, I will say when I first got there, I am always you always look at things through a travel agent's lens. And my husband does the same thing now, which is hilarious. But the first thing we noticed was how absolutely immaculate the resort was. It is very clean. We felt that there was always somebody cleaning. No matter where we were walking, there was somebody paying attention to those little details, which I feel is so important, because when you go to a resort, you don't want to see all the broken tiles. You don't want to see the age of that resort necessarily. So sometimes that, it's a little disconcerting about how clean is this place, but actually it was immaculate. I was very, very pleased with it. But when it came to the COVID things, I thought they were extremely good about all of their procedures and policies. You can tell that the rest of the restaurants, that the tables are a little farther apart. They may have in the past had tables much closer together. So, which was nice because it kind of gave you a little more intimacy actually. And then also masks were obviously worn inside when you were inside the restaurants and things, but because the majority of the resorts are outside, you were able to have them off. It was warm, but it was quite beautiful outside. So you really felt safe. You didn't feel like you were too closed in. And then of course, in the app, what they would do is they of course documented when you were leaving. And in the app the day before, or 2 days before we left, we got a little message. It said, hey, you were timed to show up for your test to go back into the States, because at this time, when we're doing this, you still need the COVID test, a negative test, to be able to get back into the States. 48 hours before you were leaving, they sent you a message, told you your time to show up. We literally walked in. They gave everybody separate times. Our rooms were together. So we were together. We walked in, handed them our passports. They swabbed our tests. We were out the door in 5 minutes.
Yeah, the resorts have really stepped up, and not only do they have such a great procedure to get it done safe with medical personnel that are coming to the resort, but they've been very just flexible with the time. So whether it's 72 hours or 24 hours or, whatever the new time frame is, the resorts have been really quick to be on top of making sure that those are accommodated. So I really think you can book with confidence, knowing that even if the rules do change again, the resorts will be able to accommodate. And it's not like you're wandering around in town trying to figure out your testing.
No, not at all. And it was great because then the results came to us by late afternoon, right to the message on the app. It also got emailed to us. So that way, when we got to the airport, we could pull it up very, very easily.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what was your favorite thing about Margaritaville?
I really enjoyed the size of it because, and we can talk about it in a little bit, but I got to tour some other resorts and I really loved the size of Margaritaville because I felt like it was an intimate resort in the fact that we could get to know people well, but I didn't feel like we were on top of each other or that it was too small. I liked the fact that it had multiple dining options for us. And I felt like we never got tired of what they had. There was plenty of things to be able to eat, drink. It wasn't at all stuffy, which was great. I love the Margaritaville theme, but of course I love the tacos.
Well, back to tacos. I feel like we could take a commercial break every 2 minutes. And
The
That's
tacos.
Okay. So this is a resort that is not exclusively adult only, although you guys went as a couple without children, but to celebrate your anniversary, but it wasn't exclusively for adults. So what were your thoughts about for families at this resort?
I would honestly think that although it was great for kids, we didn't actually see any kids when we were there, but it did have like a smaller kids pool. They had the cutest little lounge chairs for like little guys that might be there by the pool enjoying it. They had a kids club, and they definitely had activities for kids. Like they would do the things, a lot of times all inclusives will bring like the parrots in, or they'll bring entertainment that's specific to families. So I do feel like they had that. However, what I would say is was able to get the ability to go tour the Azul Beach Riviera Cancun that was literally right down the road from Margaritaville. That's where I would definitely take my teenager, my kids. I felt like that was definitely a very family-friendly resort. So although this was family-friendly and it was nice, I'm not sure kids would really feel that full Jimmy Buffett thing, you know?
They don't have a Jimmy Buffett history.
No, they're not really into that whole margaritas thing. So, but what I really enjoyed about the Azul Beach Resort was the pool was amazing. And it seemed to go on forever. Like Lazy River, it almost like it kind of came in and out of different buildings. There was lots of swim up suites. I just felt like they had it all going on when it came to full family things. One of the things I really thought was cool about that resort was they actually totally supplied everything if you were bringing a baby.
Oh,
so yeah, I know. So say that, maybe you have this plan down the road, you welcome a new little addition to your family, but you're like, hey, you know what? We still want to go on vacation, and you have an 11-month-old with you. But they actually supplied not only your pack and play, your stroller, they did gourmet baby food if you wanted. So talk about all inclusive bottle warmers and diapers. They would make sure you had everything to keep those little feet happy. And then they actually had this really cool turn down service where, of course, they would come into your room and they would do wine and cheese and crackers for mom and dad and milk and cookies for the kids. So
what qualifies as a kid?
We could totally have the milk and cookies, right?
Like, I'm here with my husband, but I think I need the milk and the cookies.
So yeah, but
It sounds so fun.
I thought it would be a really neat resort for entire families, like multi-generational, where grandma and grandpa might be coming. There was that beautiful spa. They had very spacious rooms, large pools. But I got to tell you, my favorite place in that place, actually, they had a mojito bar. So I know, like, I'm definitely into margaritas, but I can definitely switch to mojitos if I needed
You're flexible.
to.
It's good to know.
I can be very flexible there. Rum, tequila, it's all good.
Yeah.
So I really thought that was an excellent choice for families.
That's awesome. And is it the same? I don't know what the word is. It's the same brand, right? They're all under Charisma
Yes.
as the parent company. So they all kind of have the same high standards for food and
They really
quality.
did. I will say that we actually very luckily got to eat when we were at the Azul Beach Resort as well. And I thought that the level of food at Margaritaville was fantastic. They did an excellent job. Everything we had was delicious. And we had that and more. Like if something was so yummy and they observed you loving it, they brought you some more, which was so great. And then I definitely had to lose some weight after this trip. I'm just saying. But what was neat is when we were able to go to the Azul and tour that, because I wanted to see a really big family resort. They were so fabulous. Every restaurant that they took us into to tour, they gave us a little taste of something.
Oh, nice.
So we got to try the mojitos. We got to try all the little things at their little restaurants. So I feel like I've gotten a nice base of a Charisma brand.
Mhm.
So, and they also have El Dorado as well.
Okay. So talk a little bit about the El Dorado resorts then.
Yeah. So we were super excited because we also got to go see the El Dorado Royale, which was another fabulous adult only location. Now, on the flip side, this was actually a rather large resort. It actually encompasses 3 separate Charisma resorts on one property.
Wow.
So it was very large. So it had a definitely different vibe and different feel to it. But I would say if you're looking for another adult only option, but you're looking for that bigger feel, El Dorado Royale was beautiful. They actually had a restaurant, which was kind of cool, where you made a reservation, you would go in. everybody in the restaurant ate at the same time. And it was a show. So the entire kitchen would explain the restaurant, what they were making. So they would have one full menu and they would explain everything they were making. They would show you, and then everybody in the restaurant got served at the same time.
Wow.
So it was kind of neat to see. I definitely would have loved to have tried that myself. But they also have another area there that is also adult only called casitas. And that was kind of like the concierge level. It kind of kicked it up a notch.
Nice. Yeah, so they definitely have a couple of properties in that area that would be great for people to come and visit. So it sounds like you had a fantastic time in Mexico. We actually took our kids to an all-inclusive. I mean, I had been, but my kids had never been to an all-inclusive this past summer, and we're going back to Mexico again this summer as soon as that passport gets back here. So that just sounds like such a great experience. So thank you so much for sharing with us your experience at Margaritaville. And I think it would just sounds like a great opportunity for someone who maybe was an avid cruiser like you, but maybe for reasons outside of their control, cruising isn't in the cards for them in the next, I don't know, amount of time. And they're looking for something similar, something that they would love. And that all-inclusive in the Caribbean could really be that option. So
absolutely. And not to really, Margaritaville is really trying to make a name for themselves. They actually just opened another family all-inclusive in Cap Cana.
Yes.
And they're going to be opening another Margaritaville in Riviera Maya, just down the street from the one that's open right now. That is a build from the ground up. It looked gorgeous. I was hoping to be able to tour it, but they were still working on it when we were down there. And that one's going to be an adult only.
Okay, so a new adult only in Mexico, and then the new one at Cap Cana, which is in Punta Cana, will be for families.
Yes,
and that one I believe is open.
It is open now.
So, so some great options in the Margarita brand. You could do the Tour de Margarita.
I might have to do that. I kind of check those off, you know,
and then you can get your like official Jimmy Buffett license. So great. Well, that just sounds like some great options. I'm so glad we got to talk about all inclusives. At Magical Memory Planners, we love to promote so many different destinations. And sometimes people think that we're only one sector, but we really are in the Caribbean. We're in the all-inclusive sector, and we would love to help families that are looking for that, or maybe a family that doesn't want to bring their kids with them. We can do that too.
Mom and dad are allowed to go away. You know, yes. I think, you know,
especially when you've been home. If you've been homeschooling your children, you deserve a vacation without them.
You really do. You know, the best place for kids are at home.
Yeah,
so
they belong at home. No, I mean, but there's options for everyone. So whatever you're looking to do, Magical Memory Planners can help. And if you reach out to us and you want to talk to Carla about your vacation plans, there'll be her contact information in the show notes as well as on the website. So you'll be able to get in touch with her, and she would love to help you with your own vacation getaway. So thanks so much for joining this episode of Travel Talk.